Oh, hello, and welcome back. Coming up on Europe's epic lower CO2 emission challenge.
Oh, there I am. Ouch. Determine which is, maybe that's best. Let's see, I'll do this.
It's really good.
Honey, can you close that door? Because I'm going to be starting in a little bit.
It's very good.
Okay. Hi, Janet. I'm trying to. Oh, there you are. Okay, I see you. I've got my cell phone right next to me. Hopefully, I can kind of keep an eye on chat because my computer screen is too far away from my old eyes. I'm just putting out a little bit of paint here. Got my bulbs lined up. Just told the hubby to shut the door. So we'll see how it goes. I still haven't figured out being able to bring my camera down without manually bringing the camera down. So I'm hoping that everyone will be able to see it fairly well. Thank you, Janet. I just thought I'd show, after a couple folks get in here, show you what I've been up to with my light bulbs. Oh, okay. I know, I tried downloading software, but I can't get it to work. Hi, is that Lena? Hi, Lena. I think that's your name. Let's see. All right, 429. Oh, thanks for joining me, Lena. That's great. Okay, I'm going to take a couple of deep breaths. So I guess maybe I should. Oh, you know what, girls? I don't have any monitors. That's the other source of angst for me. So if we get any trolls or any people start, carrying on, Not sure how to handle that. Okay. Hi, Julie. Yeah, I just want to make sure somebody would be willing to be a mod. So if anybody's willing, I did one live stream once. I had two people there. One was my sister and one was Katrina. She's at Dee Dee's on occasion. So if she comes in, she would be a mod for me. But I just don't want to. Now see if I can. Oh, I see the 3 dots over there. Okay. You will, Janet? Oh, yeah, that's what I need. I need a Janet mod. Let's see. Okay, add moderator. Super. At least I have one. Woohoo! All right. Well, I'm really not sure how many people are going to show up, so I'm just going to start. I can always go back and show, but I have a little montage of my light bulb people, and these are just regular incandescent bulbs that my husband sprays for me. He puts a base coat of just the spray paint that we pick up at Walmart because I find it's easier to then go ahead and do my thing. So that's how they look before we start. I base coat them mostly in white and go from there. So here are a couple little snowmen. Of course, this guy, I pulled the hat down. Thought that looked cute. And this little fellow with eyes. Hi, is it Shayna? Hi, Shayna. Thanks for coming in. And this is one of my Grinches. I do 3 different Grinch faces. So that's one of them. Thanks, Lena. Hi, Shauna. Thanks for coming in. This is one of my Santas. My husband said he thinks, well, this one looks a little cross-eyed. He thinks my Santas should be, I probably have a glare on there, be a little happier looking. But I didn't really think they look that sad, but apparently they do. So that's that guy. And then this is a new one. He's not decorated yet, but this is more of a vintage looking snowman. And I haven't decorated his hat yet. And then I've been doing these girls. Some of you have seen this one. This is a type of bulb I sent to Dee Dee. And this is a lady bulb. And I usually put some of a little message on their cheek. And then just decorate the hat. And I can put I put a little name on it if folks want. And then I also upcycle, paint on upcycled items. I don't have anything right here with me. Most of it's still packed in the car. Show on Saturday. But this is a little coin purse that I did that I just bought at a thrift shop and painted a face on it. So they're fun to do too. And I just use acrylic paint and then I seal them so the paint stays on. Let's see. Hi, Elaine. See Elaine. So I'm going to put these little folks aside. So I'm planning on I have a couple of bulbs sitting here that I'll work on. And I'll just take you through how I do them. And then my plan is not to be on too terribly long, but then I'll show you how I dress them and get them ready for a show. Last year, I think I had maybe 4 craft shows plus the co-op that I'm in, and I think I sold around 400 or 500 bulbs. So they keep me busy, and I don't usually do them in the summer. I usually wait and start painting more towards the end of August because I like to do other things. And I hope the glare is not too bad for you all. So I have one green one here that will turn into a Grinch. He's really fairly easy. This is a different kind of eye than the one I just showed you. And this one I pre-did a little painting. It's hard to paint on top of the green, so I base coated my eye shapes with white, and then I put my yellow on. And then I just have 3 bulbs here that my husband sprayed with the white that I'll now come in and put my snowman face on. Hi, Card Chick. And Pandora, I missed you coming in. Hello. So I just got this. This is a Tim Holtz glass media mat that I got yesterday. So far, I'm liking it. I just used it today. It's finally warmed up, and I can just put my paint on it, and it wipes up real easy. So I'm excited about that. So I basically use Americana paint. I have maybe 1 or 2 old paints of Apple Barrel left over. Hi, Mary. I'm so excited to see you. Hello. And I just put out a few colors. Jersey. Hi, Laura. Oh, this is so exciting. I wish I could read it on my screen, but I'm just kind of looking at my my cell phone here. Of course, I think it was Murray said, oh, I just leave it plugged in. Or maybe it was Laura. I never even thought about that. So I have my cell phone plugged in. So hopefully I'll be good to go. All right. So I just put out some red. I have a tomato spice color, but I'm not sure what brand that is. It lost its label. And I've had that paint for a while, so I don't know what brand that is. So I usually start with painting the nose of my snowman. I don't do a carrot nose. I have on occasion, but generally I just do a round button type nose. So I just use a basic brush. I don't buy expensive brushes. I'm very hard on my brushes. I know I'm very hard on my brushes. I'm at the age where I'm not going to change. And so I don't put a lot of money into them. So this one is just I think I get this at AC Moore. It's Princeton brand, and I can't, there it is, number 2 round. And of course, I'm going to wet it first before I put it into my acrylic paint. And I use the nose kind of as my anchor of the face. So I'm just put a little bit of paint on my brush, and I just, I don't put any pattern on generally, not anymore. I turn the bulb all different directions to help me just, you know, get the shape that I want. Sometimes I give it a big nose, sometimes a little nose. And of course, if any of you paint, you know that red paint, it's very hard to cover a surface with red. So I usually need to do at least 2 coats. Well, I do 2 coats on most colors anyway. So I just have 3 here. Generally, if I'm getting ready for a show and I paint in volumes, so I generally will paint maybe 12 to 20 of one style bulb at once. So I use an egg crate. I have the bottom of an egg crate here that I've cut the bottoms off. Sometimes I just put a little X in them so I can pop the bulb in this way so they stand up, especially when I put the sealer on them. And I have them sitting all around, and that helps me so they don't roll all over. And the Grinch, I'm going to go ahead and put his nose in. I did his eyes earlier. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I had bulbs gifted to me all last year. one lady lost her husband, and when she went to clean out the garage, he had, hi, Kathy Arbor. He had 500 light bulbs stored in the garage. I guess he was afraid that he was going to run out of them. So that lady gifted them to a church where my sister attends. So I was able to get those bulbs. This year is the first year I bought bulbs. But I do have folks save them for me. But there again, I used so many that I had to buy some this year. So this Grinch, I'm just kind of going to give him a little half circle nose and bring it down to a little point. The Grinch is very popular for me at my shows. People love the Grinch. And this year I've been putting some sports emblems on the hats, and people are going crazy for them. I'm just trying to keep an eye on chat here, and hopefully I don't miss anybody coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and put my second coat on my nose. Now this paint, I don't put sealant in my paint as a base coat for this. Sometimes I do it, I'm doing the handbags, and sometimes I do it when I'm painting on wood. But I am going to seal the light bulb, and I paint my sealer on, so I don't worry about putting sealant in my paint. And I think my brush, this brush is probably about had it. It's getting a little wispy there on the edges. The smaller bulbs, I don't know what you mean by, golf ball type, like a little round one. They might make cute elves. I have some small ones. I want to do some Woodstock. I do have Harry Potter bulbs, and I do Charlie Brown, the Peanuts gang. They're very popular for me. But a customer suggested last week that I use a smaller bulb for Woodstock. So I need to get some of those rolling. Inevitably, I always end up sticking my hand in paint. So I'm going to try to be careful. Trying to make a good impression, girls. All right. Now, I generally, on my snowmen, just do a teardrop shaped eye, but you really could do any shaped eye that you're comfortable with or that you would like. Oval, half moon, really. As I showed you in this one bulb, this guy didn't do any eyes. I was putting, in fact, yeah, I didn't do any, because I think I was dressing a bulb one time and I pulled the hat down. I thought, oh, that looks cute, so I should do something like that. So you really don't even have to do any. You could, if you wanted to gift these, like they're great teacher gifts or co-worker gifts. My niece last year bought a whole bunch of them to give people that work for her. So they love them. They're just different. You could paint on a gourd too, but the light bulb just seems to be intriguing for a lot of people. So I put out some lighter blue. I'm going to give the snowman blue eyes, and I'm using the Deco Art Americana, and this is called Calypso Blue. And I think I want to use a different brush because this one's giving me a little bit of a fit. So I normally would use a bigger brush that I'm going to use, but my brushes are not in order. And so I'm just going to use this. It's a Zen Royal Langnickel brush, and it's a 10/0. It's not a liner. It's just a small round, really. And so I put my paintbrush in water again, took out the moisture, and I've just loaded some paint on. And I just go and paint my teardrop shape. And even if they get a little crooked, you know, I mean, you really could draw a black line around there so you have the white of the eye. I don't bother with the white of the eye anymore. I just put the color in. I hope you can see what I'm doing okay. And I use my baby finger to brace. My hand is not as steady as it used to be. I'm sure that has nothing to do with my age. And I try to keep them as even as I, kind of basically the same size. Hi, Jilly. Thank you for coming. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Welcome to anybody I've missed. Hi, Judy. So I'm going to go ahead and do this little fella too. Now, when I first started painting the bulbs, what happened was the co-op that I'm in, there was a gal there that painted on light bulbs. And she finished them off differently than I do. This guy's not really quite centered. But she was moving to Florida, so the owner of the shop asked me if I would like to step in and paint light bulbs. And so I started painting on the light bulbs about 3 years ago. It's been now. And when I first started, I would paint base coats on, let them dry for a day, and then come back and then do whatever. But that took a little bit of time, and it was hard to get a smooth surface, and at times some of the undercoat paint would peel off. So we have found that if you spray paint a base coat on, I have an easier time of painting on them and having much more success. I'm going to leave that Grinch go. Thank you, Shauna. Oh, sorry for any confusion there, Laura. I'm so nervous about the adult and the kid thing, so I'm trying to cover all my bases. So I'm just letting this blue dry a little bit and get my second coat on. As you know, with acrylic paint, a lot of times, if it's not dry, you're going to pick up the coat that's underneath. So, and you really don't have to put that much paint on them sometimes, because I'm going to put a black pupil in. I'll turn them upside down and just paint from the bottom up. And then you don't really waste any paint. I don't know. I try not to waste paint. And let's see. Sometimes I give them eyelashes, sometimes not. I usually always try to remember to give them some blush. And I like to shade their noses. I'm not too much of the bright looking colors. I like them colors a little more muted. But that's personal preference, so you could really paint them up any way that you want. So, and I like to use an angle brush. That's my favorite brush. And so I use that to float my color. That's an old, I don't know if it's an old, I'm kind of out of the painting on wood scene. But I like to float some color in the eye to give it a little more character. And so I just have a little bit of teal, and that's Apple Barrel brand. This is real old. I've had this forever. I started out painting ceramics, and I had a bunch of these Apple Barrel brand paints, and I've only held on to a few of them, but I do like the Mystic Teal. And so I like to use an angle brush to give some, I'm going to use a smaller one. This is a number, this is an 1/8 inch Premier brand. And to float color, I just put my paintbrush in my water, tap off most of the moisture on my paper towel, and then I just load the corner. I don't even know if you can see that, just a little tiny bit of paint on the corner of my brush. And then I work it out on my, let me see, I don't know if I can get you in. If I move no, I'm always backwards, move it the wrong way. I just work it out on my palette. Oh, I think I went the wrong way, kids. There we go. I don't know if you can see me over here. Over here. I just kind of, and you'll get the feel of it. If you have too much water in your brush, it just makes a puddle and it's kind of leaky all over, which isn't good. You don't want that on your piece. So I just get it to the way that I like it. And what happens is that water that's in your brush, and when you work it through the brush, the color just moves across. And you don't really have to do this. People like my eyes and they like the way that I do them. So once you're successful at something, and I'll just kind of use a C stroke around the outside edge of that eye. And I do the same side on both eyes. The first eye, I didn't really get too much color in there. I don't know if you can really even tell a difference. It's very subtle sometimes. And then you just want to clean your brush. I try to clean it between each application of paint, because you really want the darker color on that pointed edge. You can use a flat shader. I just, for whatever reason, I think the angle brush works better for me. Now there, I got way too much water in my brush. Yeah, I like floating the color, even in coloring books and whatnot. That one didn't move so much. See, in there, I'm scraping up some paint. I put too much water on my brush. Ruh-roh. I'm just gonna work it out. Just work it out. And then just get it the way you like it. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, there I am. I'm moving. I think my phone's probably not on live chat anymore. Or live. So my hands aren't matching what I'm doing. I don't know how you girls do this and keep everything in order. Woo! Hi, Shelly. Thanks, Shelly. All right, then I usually get my black out, which I already have done, trying to be prepared. I love my liner brush. I use the liner brush quite often, but then there again, I'm going to float some, I just float some black, sometimes purple. Sometimes I might float some brown around the eyes to make them look sunken in a little bit, or more of a country vintage kind of a look. But generally, I'm in such a hurry, I got to get them done. I don't really do all that. So for his little nose, I just come around the side and just shade that a little bit. There again, you could use a darker red or burgundy. I just didn't put out a ton of colors, so I'm just going to use my black. And you really could do the nose black, like black coal. And I have painted carrots on. I've thought about doing clay noses and now having a 3D kind of a look and adhering a carrot nose. But then when I thought about that, packing them up and putting them away the end of the season, I think that my customers may not appreciate that so much. So I didn't go that route. Thanks, Shauna. All right. So now I'm going to come in with that smaller brush. If I can remember where I put it, there he is. And I'm just going to put in the pupil of my eye on these little snowmen. Same thing, it's just a smaller teardrop inside the teardrop I already made. And a lot of times I'll turn it upside down just to make sure I get the bottom as round as I can. And the thing I like to tell folks is I'd rather see you make the pupil bigger rather than smaller. So if you make it smaller, I've seen some people make a little eye like that. And to me, that just doesn't look good. So I'd rather see you do a bigger pupil. And again, I always anchor my hand with my finger. And sometimes I give them eyebrows, but a lot of times when I put the hat on, it really doesn't, you really don't need them. Just depends on how you're going to dress them. The painting really doesn't take me too much time because there's really not a whole lot to them, especially for a snowman like this guy. His eyes are just dots. I always turn it the wrong way, you know, so there's not much to painting that. So does anybody know, or have not know, but does anybody have a guess at what I use for hats for this snowman? And I use it for the Grinches as well. Any ideas? Felt. I did use felt for this one. But what do I use for this kind of snowman? Snow person. Socks. Yes, Kathy Arbor socks. Oh, Mary too. Socks. I just use regular socks, Mary, but socks. So come August, I start looking for socks that might be Christmas colors, winter colors. I always find them. I just ordered a bunch of, I wanted red. Ordered a bunch of like a dozen soccer socks, and they're so long I can get 4 hats out of 1 soccer sock. So that's cool. And some socks are cuter than others. Janet, you're funny. All right. So I also use a color called Hot Shots Fiery Red. This is from my ceramic days. This is a neon Americana color. And this is wonderful on reds, the highlight red. When I used to paint on wood and I'd get my red the way I like it, this really would make the red pop. So I usually put a little bit of this on the snowman nose. Again, I float that on. I'm going to use my bigger angled brush. There you might be able to see it a little bit better. Same deal. Work it through my brush, and I'm just going to do a little stroke at the top of his nose. Just give him a little highlight there. And then being a ceramic girl from way back, I like to dry brush. So I usually dry brush their cheeks. Sometimes I don't. Just depends. Most times I do. With the Lady Light Bulb, I floated the cheek color on her. And I do that a lot on my Santas. I use the glove for the hat. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. But on this guy here, I use the dry brush and did the cheeks. It just depends on what look you're going for or what you might like. This little guy, I floated the cheek on. Okay, so I use a glove finger for the hat. Better than skivvies. Yeah, better than skivvies for sure. And I have a mop brush that is a favorite. And I did clean it and dry it. And now where to put? Oh, there it is. I used to paint a lot and follow a gal by the name of Maxine Thomas years ago. I actually went and took a class of hers out in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which was one of the highlights of my adult life. So this is her mop brush, which I really love. So all I do for that is, let me see, I don't have any cheek color out. I'm going to use Coral Blush from Deco Art Americana. Thank you, Elaine. They're really fun to make. I really like when I start to dress them. Now, a nail salon that I go to, they sell them for me because they love them. But the gals there really like them on a block of wood. So my husband cuts me little squares of pallet wood and I glue them down like this. I have one over across the room. I should get it and show you. But the people at my shop, my co-op, they really like them when they hang as a bulb. And you can hang them anywhere. It doesn't have to be a Christmas tree. Okay, so I had my dry mop brush. I didn't put this in water. I want it to be a dry brush. I tipped it in my cheek paint and I rubbed off most of the excess on a paper towel. You can use a brown bag as well. And then I just come to the piece and I lightly just keep like a circular motion until I get the color to the degree that I want. Hubby's in the dog out, so if you hear any strange commotions, see now that got a little darker on that side. But that's okay. Snowmen should have really rosy cheeks because they're outside in the cold. All right. It's like really crazy watching myself on my cell phone. Looks like I'm going like real fast. Now, I always make sure I get well, I don't always make sure. Sometimes I forget, girls, okay? But I try to remember to do my eyelashes after I get my cheeks on, because then I got to go back and redo my eyelashes. But, I mean, that's not a big deal either, but it's easier if you do them first. So once I get my little cheeks the way I like, got to have your nice little cheeks. I come in with my liner brush, and this is the 10/0. This is a Princeton brand. I use a couple different brands. I always wet it first, and I want my my paint to be of an inky consistency. So I just add some water, and I kind of mix. You're not going to be able to see it on this dark mat. I'm trying to see if I have anything light right next to me here that I can show you. I don't know if this would, no, that's probably not good either. I could just do it on paper. So I just try to take my paint, not real wet, because it'll be runny. And as I drag my paint through, my brush through the paint, I kind of twist it to try to get my liner brush to a nice point. And then I just use it like I would a pencil. Again, I'm going to brace my finger. I'm going to be really nervous doing this with an audience. And I just outline the shape of my eye. Light pressure, because I want my line to stay fairly thin. And I feel like I should always start with the left eye, but for some reason I always start with the right, and then I usually end up putting my finger in the wet paint. And then I just reload my brush as needed, put it in water, add to the paint, make it inky consistency. If you get too much water in it, it's going to be like a gray washy color. So you'll know just to not put as much paint in. Generally, I just do bottom lashes, but you can really do whatever. And I just kind of come around the bottom and just pull down, drag it out, and lift up. Kind of looks like a spider. And then I usually just give it a very simple smile. Sometimes I offset it. Sometimes I center it. Thank you, Elaine. Thanks, Judy. And you can put lashes down the side. You can really, let your imagination. I look at pictures on Pinterest and look at different ideas. I try not to copy people, but I do take ideas and then try to put my own little twist on them. See there, I got a couple little bumps at the bottom, so I'll just come back in with my paintbrush and just make that a little thicker at the bottom. And if I'm going to put lashes out the top, I usually turn it upside down and I start in the center of the pupil and I just do the same thing. I kind of just press and then drag and lift up and make little lashes. There again, see, I started with the right eye and I should start with the left. And Dee Dee's right. It's hard to do this and talk. I kind of hold my breath when I do the lashes. So I want to give this one an eye lash on this side, kind of match the other as best as I can. And give this one a mouth. Sometimes I'll put a little circle, like a little oval, just to make it like it's saying ooh, or a little swiggly line. I might put a heart, just whatever. I'll just finish up this one real quick, and then I'll show you what I do to the Grinch while I have my liner brush out. Hi, Lori. I don't know if I don't think I said hi to Jilly. I'm not sure if I did, or Shelly. Thanks for coming in. Just coming on the down the home stretch here of painting these faces on the bulbs, my little snowmen. And let's see, this guy, let's give this guy a little bit of a different mouth. Give this guy a little circle, oval. All right, just let that dry. And then I'm going to come back to this Grinch that I've been kind of working on. Again, I'm going to use my liner brush. I'm going to thin out that paint. I keep thinking my name is Lori. So when I see people say, "Hi, Lori," I have to remember they're talking to Lori Loves Montana. Okay, so down from the nose, I just bring a little thin line. And then around the Grinch eye, I just do an outline of his eye. It's like I'm putting on his mascara. When we set up and do our craft show, my husband made this grid that we can just kind of hang the bulbs from. And inevitably, 85, if not 90% of the crowd that walks by always point out and say, "Oh, look at the Grinch." And I kind of do the eyes, lashes about the same. I'm just going to come around the top and start and then just push down, pull up, and lift off. Give them those crazy eyelashes. I spell it the way you do, Lori. It's a nickname for me. My name is not Lori, and I don't know all of you well enough to tell you my real name because it's horrible. But Lori is a nickname. That's what I've been called all my life. I kind of got the Grinch's nose a little off-centered there, so I'm just going to kind of correct that a little bit maybe. And then I just give him a big mouth. And I usually put corners on his mouth. That I shouldn't have done that. Usually have a Q-tip here. If you get it right away, you can usually rub it off fairly easily. And then I really load up my liner brush to do his eyebrows. And I just kind of do a V shape. And always turn this one to do this side upside down. And just give it a little bit of a squiggle. Now, a lot of times when you see the Grinch, he's got more like a little, kind of like a little C stroke in there. It's hard to get those even for me. No, it isn't Hazel. I'll tell you, I'll give you a hint. My first name is Lucy's best friend's name, as in Lucille Ball, you know, Lucy. Ethel, yep, that's it, Ethel. Ethel Lorraine is my given name, but I've always been called Lori. So I'm just going to come in at the top of this eyeball, and I'm going to just try to do it. I don't do this part so great. Kind of make it like that. You usually have to come in. I've thought about using a Posca pen, but I've had some trouble with those on the bulbs. When I paint the sealant over top of a Posca pen, even though it's dry, I've had trouble with it and it smears. And then, of course, I'm afraid I'm going to scratch the underneath paint off. So I kind of just do that. And sometimes I give them freckles. Sometimes I don't. This one here, he's got the red eyes. And so he's a little bit different. And I do float some color and give him the dots on this one. And that's about all I do to him. I might give him a couple little markings out here. Sometimes I'll come in and give him a couple little things like that, but he's basically finished. So then I will come in and I will do my highlight, my white paint, and highlight. I should have probably done this so they had a chance to dry, because I need to, well, I can seal them after the fact. I can dress them. I don't even know how long have I been here. Oh my gosh, almost an hour. Time flies. All right, so I'm just going to take my little 10/0 paintbrush, and I'm going to put, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use I have it sitting over here. I'm going to use it. I'm going to use my little stylus. It's got 2 different size dotters on it. You could do it with a paintbrush. I'm going to use the dotter. So I just dot into my white paint, decide where I want my highlight. Put it the same on both eyes. And then I'm going to use the opposite end, which is smaller. And I come and put a dot down below. Sometimes I'll put 2 or 3 dots. Sometimes I might put like a star. This is why I'm never bored. Just want to make sure you clean off your stylus so you're not getting. And then a lot of times I'll also put a highlight on the nose as well. I'll probably do that. Now, people have asked me about the light bulbs breaking, but I've been doing this for 3 years. I've only broken one. They're a little more durable than you might think they are. And then once you get a couple coats of acrylic paint on it and your sealant, it gives it a little more protection. I wouldn't let a kid play with one. But unless you really drop it from a high spot, they usually hold up pretty good. Julie Ridge. I don't think I said hi to Julie Ridge. Hi, Julie. And I think I saw Shelly. Yeah, I'm trying to keep track here, ladies. All right, so they need to dry a little bit. I'm going to put a little highlight on the nose using my liner, and I'm going to use the same technique that I did with the black. I'm going to thin that down just a little bit, and then I usually just do a little comma stroke. I don't know. You don't really need all this stuff. You could paint sparkly stuff on the noses. You could spatter the bulb and make it look really more country-ish. But at this point, I let that dry, and then I'll start to dress them. I brush on my sealer rather than spray them. Especially this time of year, if I spray outside, or my husband, who am I kidding? I don't spray outside. My husband does it. It's just another step, and it holds me up. So I usually paint the sealer on. I use either a multi-purpose sealer, all-purpose sealer, satin finish, gloss, just depends what I have. I'm having a hard time finding the Dura clear gloss finish. I like that. I like that for my upcycled handbags and whatnot too. And then I pop them in my little egg crate here once they're painted up with the sealer. I'm not going to do that now because I don't want to smear the dots in their eyes. But, you know, I would have them like this drying with the sealer on it. But I'm going to dress them, show you how I dress them. And let's see, it's 5:30 Eastern time, so I don't want to keep you too much longer, I don't think. So you folks can get on with your evening. So the first thing I do is I need to have a place where somebody can hang the bulb. And the gal that did them before me, she used to use that clay stuff somehow and wires, and I don't know, that didn't make sense to me. So I use ribbon or twine, but for the most part, ribbon. And so this is the sock I'm going to use. I probably should clean up my paint because inevitably I'm going to stick my hand in it. So I'm just going to put my paper towel over it. So this is the sock I'm going to use. I'll get 2 hats out of this sock. This is just like a regular person's sock. I don't know if I have. See, and this is the soccer sock. See, so this is like so long. I get 4 out of that baby. So I usually try to match a color with the ribbon and the sock. A lot of times I just use black, but that royal blue is not going to work, so I'm just going to use black. And I have my hot gun already plugged in. So that's been heating up. And I have my scissors at the ready, my Tim Holtz scissors at the ready. And so I just take my bulb. I just had an order, and the gal ordered the lady bulbs for her Bunko Club, and I had never heard of Bunko. It's apparently a game. But she didn't really want the bulb part to show, but a lot of folks don't mind seeing that. But it just depends, I guess. Different strokes, right? So I just put a little bead of hot glue down the side of the part where you twist the bulb into the light socket. And oh, you know what? I'm doing it backwards. I'm doing it like I'm not going to put a hat on. I need to put the hat on first. Okay, I'm getting myself excited here. Generally, I will pull the sock on. I always tend to use the part that's around your ankle first, and I just pull it on, see how I like it, and then see how I might like to finish it off. And so I generally cut right above the heel, and I just cut straight across. And then I put the little hat back on. And I pull it to where I like it. Now this is going to be a little fiddly because I usually do this and pull it up against me. But then I just take a little dot of hot glue and put underneath on his little forehead there. The great part about this is light bulbs don't scream when you hit them with the hot glue. And then I do under their chin, just a little dot. And then along the sides, I just add a little dot of glue. And then I have all kinds of stuff that I decorate them with. So I kind of just pull this up, and then I take a length of ribbon. I'm really not liking the black nail for this one, but I'm trying to think of an accent color. I'm just going to go with some off-white here, I think. So I'll just take a cut of that. And I do have some in my Etsy shop. And I do take requests. If I feel like I can do the bulb for you, I certainly would try to accommodate. But my Etsy shop has been getting a little more popular these last few weeks. Not greatly popular, but a little. So I usually tie the end off somehow. And then I just adjust the hat how I like it. And I look at them and think, yeah, you'd look cute like that. So then I flip up the end and I just add a lot more hot glue so I can keep that the side of the hat where I want it. Now remember, normally I will have already varnished this finish, so I have to be a little bit careful because he's not varnished or sealed. All right, and then I decorate however I might like. And I have a bunch of little things like this. When I see these at the end of the year on sale or clearance, or sometimes I just go online and buy buttons. Now these are reindeer. Let me see. I've got these reindeer buttons. See, they're really cool. And then I'll just look to see. Now see, that to me that doesn't work because he doesn't show up well enough. So the reindeer's kind of blends in with the gray of that sock. And I'm always turning to the camera the wrong way. I really love these little, the name of my Etsy shop is Time Like the Spice, the letter 2, the number 2, the letter B, Creative. Time to Be Creative. You might be able to find me as Pink Girly there too, but I probably should write it out. I had all these crazy ideas about, well, I have 2 YouTube accounts because when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing. Time to Be Creative. I don't know if you can see that. That's what I am on Etsy. And like I said, I can do different things. I don't have everything loaded in there as far as the bulbs or handbags or anything. So, okay, so I just want to decorate this little guy. And if you have grandkids or somebody that you want to do something special, see, like, how cute is that button? It's got basketball and the word hoops. So you can really decorate these any way that you want. There's a little light bulb ornament. I use pom-poms. There's a little package. That's kind of cute. I think I'm just going to do that little package. But what I was going to show you is, like, for these buttons that have the little shank on the back, I just snip that off with my wire cutters. And then they look real cute. So I'll just put a little blob of glue where I want it. And then I need to do something with this over here. So I either put a bow or I'll put a jingle bell. And I think a jingle bell might look nice. Woo! And I'll just make sure it jingles because some of them are duds. I'll tie this on. And I like to leave my my ribbon threads hang down quite a bit. I just like it. But I'll just snip them off. Sometimes I hang the jingle bell down here and I might put a little pom-pom there. I just cut them where I think they might look cute. So this guy still needs to hang. And all I do for that is I'll use ribbon. I might use twine. I have, where did I throw that? I threw it in here. Oh, heavens. You don't want to use that, you know what I mean? Like years ago, you used to be able, well, you might probably still get it, that like a candy box that might have that stretchy elasticized stuff. You don't want to use that. That's really thick and hard to get through the sock. I'm just going to use a little piece of my ribbon, if I can see where I threw it. And I just keep a, like a darning needle right here. It's got a big eye on it. And I just put my ribbon through. I put it through the top of the sock. And just pull it through. And then I make it the length that I want. You don't want to make it too long. I mean, people could put it on a hook, or you can just hang it on the branch. Shaker peg. You know, I've got some hanging on a shelf with a shaker peg. And then I just cut it the length that I want. Hi, Faithful. And I just put my knot. And there he is. He would be finished. And I do the same thing with the Grinch. You can do teddy bear. You can do elves. You can do reindeer. If you Google light bulb hand painted or DIY light bulb ornaments, you'll get all kinds of ideas. But they're very fun to make. And then you can dress them any way that you want. So now I have this little guy here that needs to be dressed. And what I would do for him I just took a piece of felt and I used my die cutter circles. I think his hat could probably be a little bigger. And I just pulled that over the top of the, I put a, no, I probably have it here. Let me see. I just had a, yeah. So I just cut out a round disc in felt. And then I just cut it, I just fold it in quarters. And bye, Faithful. Just cut a little hole in there. And then I just bring it down. Over the bulb like that. Hit it with a little bit of glue in spots. And then I just take a bigger piece. It's just like a rectangle. And make it the right size. And just glue that in place. But I just want to show you real quick how I put, when you do like say this stovepipe kind of a hat, or if you do a sock that's open at the top, sometimes I just put a piece of, what do they call it, like feather boa around to make it look real fluffy. But the top is exposed, so you need to have some way to hang it. You don't have a sock to put the thread through. I'll just show you real quick what I do. I take my ribbon. It doesn't have to be this narrow. Sometimes I use a 1/4 inch. And I just put a little strip of my hot glue down the side. And please don't burn yourself. And then I put the loop, you know, the length that I might want it. Line it up, try to get it even with the other side. So your bulb will hang straight and not crooked. And then I just sneak a little glue behind there and put that down. And then I just wind it around and cover up the bulb, the screw top part of the bulb. And of course, you're going to need more if you're using this thin stuff. But it looks neat. It holds it on there. And then I just add another little dot of glue. Hold that ribbon down till it sets up. And then I just cut it. And then if you have the felt hat, or if you have a piece of sock left over that you need to use, or a piece of boa, well, the boa you would just wrap around and glue it. So I would just add a little glue underneath this guy. All right. Now see, I wouldn't like that white part showing. So you just want to take another piece of felt. You could do an accent color or really whatever you want. Just want to make sure that it's long enough to go all the way around. That one is. I think I want it a little more narrow. So I'll just cut some of this off. Just want to give you a couple options here if you want to do this project. If you have some gifts you might need, neighbors, paper boy, mailman, and you want to do something. I don't cut too straight. Homemade. And then I just put it where I want. Usually glue it a little bit in the front. And then I have friends that sew, and they save me all their little material scraps, because you don't really need much to decorate a light bulb. And then I can also use it in my journaling as well. And some of them use some really cool stuff. So I take pretty much anybody's trash. So then what you can do is you can take a piece of that material, ribbon, whatever you might have laying around. And I always glue it together in the front because I know I'm going to do more decorating, so then the back looks nice too. So I just bring that around, hot glue it where I want. And you can decorate with a button, bow, and when Michaels and AC Moore have their picks and things like that on sale, I always look for small stuff, or small bells or greens. I've got some of this stuff here. This is just a little piece of plastic, I guess like a branch of a tree. Joyce, I don't think I said hello to you. Hi, Joyce. And try not to get that all over your brand new acrylic nails. And then I would add some other kind of little, so cute. See you, Jamie. Thank you, Mary. Bye, Mary. Maybe I'll see you in the morning. And I think that guy needs a little something, something. something to brighten it up. I have some burgundy ribbon here. I'm going to just make them a quick little bow. And sometimes I like a double bow rather than just a single, so I just kind of go like this. This is not as bright as I thought, but it'll do. Add my glue. I use my tweezers a lot, especially to hold things in place. These puppies have really taken a beating. And then somewhere I probably would put a little jingle bell, or I might put a button or a little mouse or something that I have. Yeah, this little mouse will look cute on there, so I'm just going to add a little more glue. And then I'll trim my ribbon. I Googled how to make a double bow and watched the video about 20 times, Judy, before I got it. So there's that little guy. Okay, so there's a couple different ways for you to decorate the bulbs if you want to make your own bulbs. So that's it, girls. I think that's it for me. Let's see. About an hour and 20 minutes. Not too bad. I made it. Thank you for joining me. I'm so thrilled that you were here. Thanks for encouraging me to do this afternoon. I've been wanting to do it for a while and to try. I love making my videos, but wasn't sure how it would be to do a live. So we'll see how it goes from here. Thank you, Lori. So I hope you all have a great evening. And I'm sure I will see you quite soon, maybe at Mary's tomorrow morning or Dee Dee's on Wednesday. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to sign off and go have some dinner. Thanks, ladies. See you soon. Thanks, Joyce. Thanks, Elaine. You're welcome, Shelley. My pleasure. Thank you, Pandora. Did I see your Dorothy? Thank you. Thanks, Shelley. Have a good night. Bye-bye.